Welcome back to the Quiet Millionaire, where we don't chase wealth, we regulate into it. Let's start right where you are. Ever notice how even rest feels like failure? That edge, right behind your sternum, tightening the minute you stop moving. Deadlines always at the back of your mind. Even on Sunday mornings, the phone buzzes and your shoulders rise a little. Not much, just enough to remind you you're bracing for something. Ever feel like slowing down is more terrifying than burning out? The silence, not gentle, but loud, a kind of background static through your chest. That shallow breath before. Bad because your brain is replaying one more meeting, one more what if. Jaw clenched half the day, eyes darting for things to control. You sit in a room, but you're never quiet in your body, always scanning for what's next. Ever wonder why urgency still runs your mornings? Even when you know better, the guilt of letting inboxes linger, the pressure to fill every minute. Like stillness is dangerous, even arrogant. Rest isn't rest. It's fight or flight on mute. Let that land. Today, we're not talking mindset. We're addressing what's underneath your money behavior. If your body never feels safe, your wealth will always feel conditional. Rest is not a reward. It's the baseline. The cost of ignoring this. A nervous system that treats every opportunity like a threat, always burning fuel, never landing. That's how you build wealth on quicksand. Here's what I want you to try. Let the urge to prove something pass. Notice, without changing, what gets tight when you rest. You already know this. Your body rarely lies. There's nothing to prove. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be true. That's the discipline. Here's the sabotage pattern. Most never see it coming. You wake up, and there's already tension in your chest. It isn't anxiety. Not exactly. It's more like a hum. The body's signal that you're already behind. You've normalized burnout. Called it progress. You reward urgency because it looks like discipline. It's not. You call yourself resilient for skipping lunch, checking Slack at dinner, keeping your phone on in the shower, or whispering to yourself that you'll rest after this lunch, after this sale, after this season. None of it lands. The line keeps moving. Let's make this tangible. It's late. You're tired. Yet you pull up your phone and check emails past midnight. There's nothing urgent. You already know this. But the fingers move anyway. Your heart rate ticks up. That's the nervous system, unsure if the day is ever allowed to end. You scroll. Reply to a question that could wait until morning. Also, you can feel slightly less behind. The price, rest forfeited, clarity blurred, another layer of self-abandonment, normalized, then repeated. Here is what I want you to try. Pause at the moment you reach for your device after hours. Just notice the urge. Don't change anything yet. Just witness how quickly discomfort shows up when you try to do nothing. That's the discipline. Most people get stuck here. They think more work equals more worth. But tying your value to output creates a loop. You can't win. You can only keep running. The nervous system waits for safety that never comes if your only strategy is pressure. Now that we see it, let's shift. No judgment, just recognition. The false belief that exhaustion is the price of abundance has been named. The pattern isn't your fault. The cost is real. But not irreversible. Let that land. Let's flip this. Most people see wealth as something to earn, chase, secure. They grit through anxiety. They think more muscle, more hours, more pressure equals more results. But here is a simple reframe, the first quiet shift. If your nervous system is in chaos, your money decisions will be, too. Safety isn't a reward for prosperity. It's the precondition for it. Let that land. When your brain is on alert, you grasp at ideas instead of pausing for clarity. When you check your investments in a state of tension, jaw set, breath shallow, eyes darting, you're not seeing the numbers. You're seeing your fear mirrored back at you. You already know this, that moment before clicking buy or sell in a panic. That's not discernment. It's survival mode, and survival mode isn't built for wealth. It's built for not losing. Big difference. Here's what I want you to try. Next time you're opening your business P&L, stop, place your hands on the desk, drop your shoulders, one slow breath. In and out. Your chest softens. Your sight widens. Suddenly, you notice something small, an expense to cut, a quiet opportunity, a spot of risk you'd have missed in tension. This isn't theory. This is your nervous system adapting. Think about high-stakes negotiations. Maybe it's a raise, an acquisition, or even setting a boundary with a client. Most enter rigid, hoping to outspeed discomfort. But if you anchor before you respond, one pause, one exhale, options expand. The patient question, the clarified counteroffer, the ability to walk away when it's not right. That only shows up when you are fighting your own body. This isn't a fix. It's a frame. Build capacity, not speed. Wealth arrives where it can rest, not where it's braced against loss. Anchor this once. Repeat when it wobbles. Rest isn't absence. It's the quiet engine running beneath your output. Most entrepreneurs have been led to believe recovery is a sign of softness, when in reality, it's the behavior that backs every real wealth builder you actually know. There's a simple, overlooked truth. Fatigue and shame compound faster than capital. Every time you override the body's signal to pause, just one more call, one more screen, one more caffeinated push, you're not building stamina. You're borrowing against clarity. The cost always lands, whether it's a careless email, a miscue from a client, or gauging an opportunity through a fog of exhaustion. The error rate rises, and so does the hidden cost. Here's where most people get stuck. They believe making money is about how much activity you can cram into a calendar, but the math works differently if you're paying attention. Take compounding interest. It only works because you leave the principal untouched. The returns build on themselves only when they're not withdrawn. It's the same with your energy. If you never let recovery settle in, if you keep withdrawing through constant action, the process resets. You stay stuck at baseline, never seeing the long tail of capacity reinvested. This isn't a fix. It's a frame. You already know what happens when you go long stretches without rest. The missteps, the reactivity, the slow leaks in decision-making. But notice what changes after even a short, full break. Problems seem smaller. Possibilities start blinking back into focus. Money is less about chasing, more about rhythm. Even patience, which gets ignored in high-pressure seasons, becomes your advantage. It lets you wait for the clear opening, the deal you don't have to force. If this shows up in your week, pause there. You don't need to explain the pause. You don't need to defend it. The nervous system is your advisor. When it signals a dull edge, resting isn't retreat. It's realignment. That's the discipline. Anchor this once. Repeat when it wobbles. You've been taught to collect wealth by chasing numbers, checking balances, watching income, searching for signals that you've made it. The whole industry rewards measurement. It doesn't reward the discipline of sitting still and feeling full. Now, everyone says abundance is a mindset, but you don't build real wealth in your mind. You build it where you regulate your body and how you sit, breathe, pause, and trust that there is. In fact, enough right here. Look at your morning, before money moves, before accounts are checked, before the calendar even opens. There's a pulse of sufficiency waiting underneath the day. Most will miss it, defaulting to urgency. That's how burnout is built. If you're listening, here's what I want you to try. Before you reach for productivity, anchor into your chair, both feet down. Let your hands relax, no gripping, no fidgeting. Notice what it feels like to have a roof over your head, warmth in the room, food, even if it's leftovers, in your kitchen. This doesn't have to be a grand display of gratitude. Let it be a quiet scan for evidence that enough exists. That feeling, the body breathing out, not holding back, is the real baseline of prosperity. This is where most people get stuck. If sufficiency feels unfamiliar, it's normal. You've trained your system to feel at home in striving, not in receiving. But keep pacing yourself here when decisions have to be made about money, career, family. Return to this felt sense of enough. Decisions from sufficiency are slower, less panicked, and almost always cleaner. Investments become less about escape, more about credibility with yourself. Relationships soften because less is being asked to rescue you. Quiet wealth is not a hope. It's a nervous system fact that gets built each minute by returning to where you already have, not where you lack. If this shows up in your week, pause there. Try this 2-breath check-in. On the inhale, notice one thing that proves your resource right now: your breath, your chair, your hands. On the exhale, let your shoulders drop and say to yourself, enough for now. That's the discipline. Anchor this once. Repeat when it wobbles. Wealth is not collected. It's regulated into, moment by moment, breath by breath, and quiet enough to feel real. These 3 shifts, safety, rest, and embodied wealth, aren't a checklist. They move as one. When you anchor your sense of safety, you create space for prosperity to grow. Rest stops being an escape. It sharpens your edge. Wealth stops living only in your accounts. It becomes a felt state. Quiet, steady, available. Most people tear apart what's working by racing past it. You already know this. There's nothing to prove. Let each shift land slowly. Know that safety is not boring. It's the foundation. Practice letting your nervous system settle, even when the world says go faster. Because in real wealth management, slowing down often gives you more, not less. That's the discipline. Try these on. In your own words, my wealth grows as my nervous system steadies. My rest is strategic, not optional. I receive more by softening, not forcing. Abundance expands as I respect my own pace. I trust that what feels calm is what compounds. Every quiet action protects my future. The return is built in the pause, not the push. Quiet wealth begins here, and it continues tomorrow.